Good morning. Welcome to the last day of Next. Thank you for braving the first 2 days. I know it's been quite a whirlwind. Appreciate everyone who's still making it through early morning this morning. I'm Jason. I'm here nobody went under their own picture. So Fabian figured it out ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then we have Holt in the middle, and Manu on the end. And so we'll pass off during the session as well. I lead product for Vertex AI for the generative AI capabilities, so the models and also the associated tooling. It's been a fun week to be here and chat with customers and talk about our cool launches. To give you an overview of the session, I'll start talking a little bit about Vertex and Gemini and what I'm excited about in the new models, especially around multimodal and long context window. Fabian's going to go into depth on a lot of it. We'll have a demo from Holt. Manu will talk about Labelbox and how Labelbox is working with Gemini, and then I'll chat at the very end about what's next. So let's get into it. Okay. Some of you may have seen this slide before. It's always humbling and exciting to think about Google's place in the world of AI. We've been working on generative AI for longer than anyone else. We invented most of the initial technology for it. And I think we went dark for a little while, and maybe the world didn't notice that we've just been working on these models continuously. We just didn't bring them to market quite as fast as some of our competitors did, but it didn't mean that we didn't have all of the research going on in the background. And so I've been privileged over the last year to help take that research and bring it into a way that folks like you can use. So we've gone through last year, most of our announcements were around the PaLM family of models. And in December, we announced Gemini. So Gemini, I think, has gotten quite a bit of press. We've talked about it. And it's interesting. We've been playing with these models and testing them internally for many months before the launches. We obviously had early versions internally. And I don't know if it really gelled for me personally until recently how powerful these models really are. We've released some awesome capabilities of the models in the last couple of months that have really brought it home for me, and I think have transferred the model from being an interesting model that does really well on academic benchmarks and state-of-the-art in lots of ways when you measure them that way, to something that is really engaging and useful. And we've heard from lots of customers over the last, today and yesterday and Tuesday, but also really over the last month and a half, the business use cases that they are excited about that are enabled by the newest releases are just exploding. And I don't think, we were talking about this just before the session, I don't think the world has fully gotten a chance to experiment with our newest models and really understand the capabilities and have fun with it as well. So let's talk about what some of those are. So this is broadly, Gemini is, we talked about it, state-of-the-art. If you look at academic benchmarks, I don't know if there'll be any single model provider that wins every academic benchmark. I don't think that's the case. But Gemini will have these state-of-the-art capabilities, and we'll continue releasing new ones. We have, and if we go all the way to the other side, safety and responsibility. We do a lot of internal testing. We are very careful about the models we release. And so we're very proud of this. We have multiple layers of safety checks. Some are configurable for enterprise, and some are built right into the model. So you'll see that as you engage with Vertex AI and Gemini, you'll have a lot of control over safety, and you'll also be starting with what we believe is the world's safest model. I wanted to highlight one thing in particular about the newest Gemini model. So Gemini 1.5 Pro, and I know we haven't always done ourselves a lot of favors by naming things, so please, the 1.0 models and the 1.5 models are very different. So the Gemini 1.5 models have a few different characteristics that are very important. So we moved to a mixture of experts architecture. This architecture, the model self-determines what its experts are. So if you think of a trillion parameter model, it could self-divide into 10 different experts. And so when you make a call, the model decides which parameters to light up. So maybe it only lights up 2 of its experts, So instead of having to call a trillion parameter model, it feels more like, in terms of latency, you're calling a 200 billion parameter model. So you're getting this radically better performance out of what feels like a smaller footprint model. It's the state-of-the-art technology. It's a leap forward, and it gives us the headspace to be able to make the models better and better. The expanded context window is one of the places where we've had the most fun in playing with these models. So the attention mechanism, the way an attention mechanism works, is much the way our human attention mechanisms generally work, which is at the beginning, you pay a lot of attention. In the middle, your mind kind of wanders, and your ability to recall things kinds of sags. So maybe by the time you get down to Holt, although his demo is going to be awesome, maybe you're just not paying attention as well as you did the first second I stepped on stage. And then at the very end, you also tend to remember what's said at the end. So your attention mechanism generally has this sag in the middle. Our researchers figured out a way to, and not just for this model, but for models in general, to fix the attention mechanism so that the models pay constant attention across the entire context window. So we no longer have to artificially constrain the context windows to to improve model performance throughout. So instead, we've released already this 1 million token context window. A token's about 4 characters. So you've got hundreds of pages worth of a document or an hour of video the model can pay attention to. So every customer I talk to has been like chunking documents or slicing up videos and trying to feed them into the models. You don't have to do that anymore, but moreover, the model can reason over all of it at the same time. That's really important because it feels like a very natural interaction with the model. A lot of the hackier workflows don't need to exist anymore with this attention mechanism. The multimodal prompting of the model is also really important, and you'll see some demos here as well. There's a picture up there. You can take a drawing and figure out where in the video that drawing exists. We just released the ability to upload video with audio. So before, when we initially announced the models, it was silent video. There was no audio. So now you can just take a clip and upload it and then have the model reason over the video and audio together. You'll see some demos, and we'll get into depth here. But it feels natural. So my main takeaway is this new model makes interacting with it feel super natural and easy. You don't have to put in a whole bunch of workflows to get the model to do what you want to do. And it's getting much closer to having a discussion with a human. So like think of a human assistant. Oh, take this video. Tell me what's going on here. I don't have to first slice it into 100 pieces or ask it and prompt it in a really nuanced way. Just ask the question and you get the answer. So it's really exciting. Before I pass it off, we have several models that we offer. So the Gemma models on the end are open weights models. Very excited to have those in the world. Google has been an open source contributor throughout the entire life of the company. We wanted to contribute back as well with our state-of-the-art models. Those models, we released them about a month and a half ago. They went right to the top of the leaderboards in open source. We will continue to invest in open source and continue to take the innovations that we have in our closed weights models and then also make them available over time in open weights models as well. We talked about Gemini 1.5 Pro. We've had 1.0 Ultra. It's generally available, but we're a little compute constrained there because we're moving so quickly. So for those customers that are looking for the power of Ultra where 1.5 Pro doesn't work, we have that available. It's behind an allow list for now. Obviously, over time, all of our models will become truly open and generally available. And then we've had Gemini 1.0 Pro. We just released a new version, generally available this week as well. Super powerful model, super exciting. It's where I'd generally say to start, unless you have one of these long context window jobs. So with that, let me pass it off to Fabian, who will get a little bit more into depth.
All right, thank you, Jason. Hi, I'm Fabian. It's great to see all of you this year here in Las Vegas. So this week, we launched Gemini 1.5 Pro in public preview, so you can all have access to it, and it's free, so go for it. Yeah. And today, I'm excited to tell you more about it and show you some exciting multimodal applications and use cases that can be powered by Gemini. So let's dive in. All right, so what's new with 1.5 Pro? Well, first, we're blowing the doors wide open on what you can build with Gemini. Beyond text, code, image, we're adding now audio. So Gemini 1.5 understands audio itself, and audio as part of video. And Gemini was built from the core to handle all these modalities at once. So you get the most insightful, seamless analysis across everything you feed it. And second, we're shattering limitations with a massive 1 million token context window, enabling Gemini to understand, process, and analyze very large amount of data, for example, hours-long video. OK, so what would you do with 1 million token context window? We're going to take a step back here. The context window refers to the amount of information a model can process, such as words, image, audio content, and that content is represented as tokens. 1 million tokens roughly equals to about 1 hour of video, 11 hours of audio, or about 10 books, right, or lines of code. And Gemini can analyze all these modalities at once. So now let's see in action some use case that can be unlocked with Gemini. One thing for the format of this presentation, I recorded the demo before. It's not a real-time demo, so the processing time is not included. OK, first example. Let's say you are an e-commerce company or a brand, and your customers' product review are marketing gold, right? But digging through these hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of hours of video is a huge effort to get those insightful nuggets, right? So let's see how Gemini 1.5 can change the game. So here I got a 10-minute video. It's about someone reviewing furniture, a couch, right? So let me play a few seconds of it to give you a sense of the format.
But anyway, so this is what it looks like. This is the back of it. And you can see like it has that silver bar on the back as well. And then all of the cushions.
Right, and the person goes on for 10 minutes speaking about the couch, right? So instead of watching the whole video, right, we can ask Gemini, describe what this person thinks about the product, list the pros, the cons, and how was the delivery experience, right? Let's check Gemini's answer. OK. So the person is very happy. Gemini lists the pros, comfortable, cozy, stylish, brings some of the cons, and mentions the delivery experience. Snap of the finger, right? So imagine doing this across thousands, tens of thousands of hours of video, instantly spotting trends and feedback your customers are telling you. So this is the power of Gemini 1.5 Pro. And we're analyzing the video, but also the audio at the same time, right? So second example. Remember when I said Gemini understands audio. So imagine you're a sports broadcaster. You got hours of game footage. And Gemini, you can use Gemini as your ultimate AI sports analyst. So let's try it. I've got an audio clip here from a soccer game. And I'm going to play it. And you can compare the response between the audio clip and Gemini's output here. All right.
That's Bernardo Silva. This is Julian Alvarez, who goes for goal, and Keller has to make a good save. But there is a shot which is beaten away by Kelleher. This is Bradley. That's wonderful. Bradley across goal.
Pretty spot on. Yeah. So, but what if you cover international sports now? So now I'm going to ask Gemini. This is prompt 2, okay, in French, right? Tu es un commentateur sportif, spécialiste en football. Traduis cette piste audio en français. Okay. You're a sports commentator, specialized in soccer. Translate that audio track in French. This is Gemini's answer. Voici Bernardo Silva, c'est Julian Alvarez qui frappe au but et Keller qui doit faire un bel arrêt. This is spot on. Right? This is exactly spot on. In the first prompt, I did not add some of the context, like you're a sports commentator specialized in soccer, and the answer was a bit flat. And by adding this, by adding the persona, the answer was very rich. Yeah, really spot on. So the possibilities are really endless here. OK, let's shift gears and talk about entertainment. So imagine you're running a movie streaming platform with, again, massive movie library. How can Gemini help with content understanding, video content understanding? So for this demo, we'll dive into a true classic. This is Back to the Future. Let me play it here. So I remove the audio here. And we're going to focus on one of the most iconic scenes from the movie. So the moment Doc Brown reveals his time machine to Marty McFly. And here, I've asked Gemini to do a few things, two things. Summarize this, three things. Summarize this video, create a pop quiz from the video with 3 questions, and provide me the answers as well. All right, we're going to see Gemini's answer to this. OK, all right, this is the iconic scene from the movie Back to the Future, where Doc Brown demonstrates his time machine to Marty McFly. The car needs to reach 88 miles an hour, and Doc sends Einstein, the dog, 1 minute in the future as a test run. Yeah. Pop quiz. OK, what speed does the deer run need to reach? Who's the first time traveler in the movie? These one are already included in the answer, but not the third. I'm going to ask the audience here. What element does the car need to generate the required power for time travel? Who knows? Oh, you're a fan of Back to the Future. Yes? Plutonium. Yeah, well, I think so. Let's see. Plutonium. You're right. Good. OK. So with these capabilities, you can enhance your user experience with automated summaries, searchable details within scenes, or even AI-generated quiz to boost your user engagement. OK. As I said earlier, Gemini can handle text, audio, video, and image all at the same time, right? So let's put it to the test. I have done an object. You'll see I'm not really an artist, and snap a photo of it, right? And now I'm going to ask Gemini with a multimodal prompt that includes this image of the mystery object and a prompt that says, OK, what it is, right? Let's see what Gemini says about it. OK. This is drawing the flux capacitor from the movie Back to the Future. And let's get a confirmation from Doc on that.
A picture of this. This is what makes time travel possible. The flux capacitor.
Flux capacitor?
Yeah, the flux capacitor, right? OK, last demo. So Gemini is natively multimodal. And all the modalities are trained at the same time. So that unlocks amazing capabilities like pinpointing exact moment in the video, right? So you see that logo, the JCPenney logo? Here I'm going to ask Gemini, at what time code do you see this in the video? I'm going to play the video and ask you to try to find out when you see the logo. The time code is included on the left bottom of the screen. All right. Anyone get it? Yeah?
I wasn't paying attention.
No? OK, well, let's see what Gemini found. OK, at 52, you can see the JCPenney logo in the background of the scene. Yeah, that's the very first time you can see it. So yeah, I hope these examples were useful, inspiring, and I'm looking forward to hear what you will be building with Gemini. And now I would like to introduce Holt Skinner. Holt is from the Google Cloud DevRel team for the next part of this session. Thank you.
OK. Hello. Yeah, give him a hand. Excellent. So my computer has locked here. Give me just a second to undo it. So my name is Holt Skinner. I'm a developer advocate for Google Cloud AI. So I create a lot of educational content for developers out in the world that are using Google Cloud to help you kind of get onboarded and learn what you can do. So I'm going to show a quick little demo of a few different multimodality use cases for this. Now, in full transparency, this was recorded because I do not trust the Wi-Fi in this building one bit after dealing with it at Innovators Hive this week. So I'm going to use a couple of different examples just to kind of show what you can do with Gemini 1.5. So I'm running this all in Vertex AI Studio. So these are things that you could actually try out today if you go in there and actually experiment with it. So first, I'm going to put in a 1-hour-long video for the Kennedy-Nixon presidential debate. So this video is public domain. It's available from PBS. And so this was a very important moment in American history. It was the first televised presidential debate. And a lot of historians and experts in politics think that John F. Kennedy won the presidency very much from this first debate because he was much more personable and expressive on camera versus Richard Nixon, who was a lot more, he was sweating during it, and his speech maybe wasn't as fluent as JFK's was. And so I decided, can Gemini go in and actually examine the facial expressions and the mood and tone of the two debaters and their speech for this? So what I do here in Vertex AI Studio, I have it using Gemini 1.5 Pro, and I import some videos in from Google Cloud Storage, because you need to do that for any super long videos. Here we go. I'll load the Kennedy-Nixon 1960 presidential debate, and then I give it a prompt of asking, you're an expert in politics and history, give a detailed analysis of this video, including each speaker's facial expressions and mood throughout the course of the debate. And so I'm speeding this up because this does take a little while to process. I mean, it's a lot of video, and models also get bored just like we do sometimes. So here we go. Here's an analysis of the first presidential debate. And notice I didn't even tell it what this actually is. I just said, oh, you're an expert. Tell me what this is all about. So this video depicts a pivotal moment in American political history, the first ever televised presidential debate between JFK and Richard Nixon. And so here we go. Throughout the debate, Kennedy appears calm, confident, and composed. He maintains steady eye contact with the camera. In contrast to Richard Nixon, who appears less uncomfortable on camera. He appears tense and perspiring, the word for sweating, fancy word for it, and his gaze often shifts away from the camera. So you can kind of see some of the different analysis that Gemini comes through with this. And it just keeps on going. We have actually key points and the different shifts in mood for this as well. So it's still going. Has a lot of information for there. So that's a little bit using video and audio together. And let's keep on going and do a different use case. I think I left this on there a little too long so people could actually read it. Here we go. Oh, and also, of course, in Vertex AI Studio, you can open up the little code page right here so you can actually see exactly what you would need to input this into the Python SDK or the REST API or any other language that's supported by Vertex AI. So let's look at a different use case using some documents and audio together as well. So have any of you ever sung classical music in high school or college or anything along those lines? In my other life, I perform classical music professionally. I actually, as soon as I get back home to Austin from Vegas, I'm going straight to a rehearsal for a concert that I have next week. So if you are familiar with this stuff, you've probably seen this book called 24 Italian Songs and Arias. It is a book of about 24 different songs in Italian, and this is very popular for people especially starting out learning classical music. These are all a bunch of different pieces that are pretty simple to learn overall. And this particular version also has the translations in English. So this is an example of some of the sheet music for it. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually importing in all of the sheet music and saying, okay, you're an expert in musicology and music history and all of this. And I say, okay, this is a bunch of sheet music. I want you to extract all of the metadata from this PDF file and give me a list of all the pieces in there, the composers, the time period, the key, the tempo marking, and all of that kind of stuff. And so this is about 100 or so pages long. Yeah, and I specifically say output structured data for all of this. And then once this ends up getting processed, we can see all of the information that it comes out. Okay, let's skip through this. You don't want to watch me from last week type all of this out. Here we go. So here we go. So we can actually see here, it actually outputs all of this in order, including, so Per la Gloria di Avorarvi, the composer is Giovanni Battista Bonaccini. All the tempo markings are in here, including even some quarter note markings in here. I don't know if you can see this. It might be a little too small. But it outputs this information for all 24 songs in this. And now, to do a little extra with this, I was actually not sure if Gemini was going to be able to do this whenever I started this project, but I actually got it to work pretty well. So what I can do here, let's skip through some of this. You can see some of the sheet music and see it's all in there. This music is all public domain. You can download it from the internet and try this out if you're interested in it. So something I thought would be interesting to do, and this was actually inspired by a suggestion Jason had. If I import this sheet music and then I import an audio clip of me singing one of the songs, it actually identifies which song it is. Okay, so let me give you a little semblance of what this audio clip looks like. This is the song that I try singing in here. A little clip of it would be like, Se ben crudele mi fai languir, sempre fedele ti voglio amar. So, do not judge my Italian, please. Thank you very much. So that's what that kind of sounds like. And then, if I actually send this all into Gemini, So based on the sheet music and the audio clip, tell me what you think this would be. And let's skip through some of this here. And right there, it says, this song in the audio clip is Se Ben Crudele by Antonio Caldara. So, and actually later I asked it as well, how did you come up with that response? Because I was curious, like, is it actually understanding the music and reading all of these notes and stuff? And no, it just looked at the title of the song and it matched the lyrics of what I was singing. So, yeah, but it's still pretty exciting, I think. And so this is just showing what that music looks like, which we already have here. So now for my final trick here. How many of you know what a lateral thinking puzzle is? So, does nobody here really know what that is? I thought that would be more popular than this. But one person, excellent. So because I am a super nerd, I listened to a lateral thinking podcast called Lateral with Tom Scott. You've probably heard his name before. He's a very popular YouTuber. And so he has this podcast where he and a bunch of other guests come on and discuss lateral thinking puzzles. And so these types of puzzles require a lot of out-of-the-box thinking. They'd have kind of a vague question or something along those lines, and then you have to kind of ask questions and kind of discuss with other people to figure out the answer of it. Right? So what I end up doing is in this podcast, they usually discuss it for a while, and eventually they figure out what the answer is. So what I did is I took a clip from this podcast, and I go just from asking the question, all of the discussion, and then right before they get to the actual answer, I stop it. And then I ask Gemini, OK, can you figure this out? So let's actually play a little clip from this podcast so we can actually see what it is, what the question is for it.
This question then, folks. Most mornings, Kathy puts on a thin layer of SPF 30 sunscreen before starting her job. She does this even though she knows she will not be outdoors for the vast majority of her shift. Why?
OK. Does anyone have any ideas right off the bat? I don't see any hands up. See, it's not something that you can just know, usually, from like having trivia, information, or anything along those lines. It requires a lot of actual thought and reasoning behind it. So, whenever I import all of this in here, I just basically say, this is an episode of this podcast, and all of the kind of solving the logic of it, but without an answer. Your goal is to actually find the specific answer to this question. And let's skip ahead, skip. Here we go. So Kathy and the sunscreen. So let's look at the clue analysis here. Kathy wears SPF 30 sunscreen every morning before work, even though she's inside most of the time. The windows at her workplace don't fully block UV rays. That is revealed as kind of a clue later in it. It's something that's kind of discussed in the podcast. She has to be in that sunny spot all day. And there are more people doing this job than people that are lifeguards at indoor water parks with UV transparent glass. I learned during this podcast, apparently that is a thing that exists. There are some water parks where they're indoors, but the glass specifically lets UV light in so that people can get a tan. Who knew? And so here's some possible solutions that people in the podcast derived. I think there's a few in here that are different as well. So airline pilot, truck driver, crane operator, construction worker, specifically in high-rise. And so without actually hearing the answer to this, Gemini says the most likely solution is, based on the prevalence of the job and the likelihood of sun exposure through the windows, the most probable answer is that Kathy is an airline pilot. And so the reason for this is that airline pilots have a lot of exposure to UV light that is much more intense. And they fly at altitudes where UV radiation is much more intense. And they also say it's significantly higher than the number of lifeguards at specialized water parks. And here we go. He also mentioned the window tinting. The type of window tinting that is used for planes can't fully block UV rays because otherwise it'd be impossible to see out of. So this has been brought to you by the American Dermatological Association, so wear sunscreen whenever you go on a flight. Those of you that are taking a flight back after this might want to think about that. So it's saying this is the most likely solution. So let's actually play in the original podcast what the answer is here.
Is she an air traffic controller?
Oh, you know sometimes, just aim for it and swerved at the last second.
Pilot,
there we go.
Oh, of course.
Well,
They don't have like windows. Surely they should put some kind of protective filter on these windows.
Well, so they can get a tan.
You would think that there would be full UV protection for pilots through that glass, and there is some, but the UV at that altitude so high up is so strong that without tinting the windows so much that they...
There we go. And so just a reminder, that was not included in the actual input to this model. So I think, no, we don't have enough time for a live thing, but afterwards, you guys can go in there and try this yourself. And something I would also recommend taking a look at. If you are of the developer mindset, then I would recommend going to this GitHub repository, Google Cloud Platform/generative AI, and I will show you a QR code as well for this. This is a repository maintained by my team in developer relations and myself. Yes, I'm seeing all the phones come out. This is a good thing. This is full of samples, examples, and notebooks, and a few demo apps as well that are all designed to take full advantage of all the generative AI that is available for Google Cloud. And you can actually see this stuff has been very active recently, especially with all the 1.5 stuff coming out right now. There's a few examples in here specifically for that. And I might even upload those specific examples to this as well after we're done here. So I'm going to pass it off to Manu from Labelbox to talk about his company's use case. Okay.
Thank you, Holt. That was an awesome demo. Hello, everyone. I'm Manu, and I run Labelbox. And before I go into kind of the actual use cases that our customers are using Labelbox for using Gemini, let me start with sharing what Labelbox is. So Labelbox is a data-centric AI platform for building task-specific models in the enterprise context using enterprise proprietary data. And we started about 6 years ago, and our core offering is a data labeling solution, a data labeling platform that enables enterprises to label data across all major modalities and across all configurations, whether it's working with internal subject matter experts or using our premium data labeling services, fully managed services for vision use cases or generative AI use cases. From day one, we've been a multimodal platform, enabling use cases in computer vision and document understanding and text and kind of a fusion of those things now. Along with our core data labeling platform, we've got new offerings, which is a catalog that enables teams to curate data, explore their data sets, and pick the right ones to improve their models. And then also model evaluation and fine-tuning capabilities through our third product called Model. Because we've been multimodal from day one, we have customers across all major industries, from insurance to healthcare to industrial robotics. And generally, these customers are using Labelbox as an enterprise-wide solution for creating training data or evaluating model outputs for their task-specific models. And one of the most exciting things that has happened in the last 12 months, 18 months is that with the emergence of foundation models, as we all are seeing, nearly every aspect of software development, also AI development, is accelerated. And we are seeing that across all these customers. And more specifically today, I'll give you some examples of how our customers are using Gemini models, foundation models, to accelerate data curation, searching and exploring their data sets, labeling, completely automating data labeling, and then also evaluating their LLM and RAG systems. So one of our customers is one of the largest fleet monitoring kind of company that has dash cams in trucks, commercial fleets of trucks deployed across various nations. And with dash cams, like sometimes these trucks go into undesired state. There are heartbreaking or accident events happen. And now this customer offers intelligent detection on why that might happen, why an accident might have happened. Maybe the driver was distracted, was drowsy, and so forth. And so And these models have to actually work on the edge, in the dash cams, with the camera in the trucks. And often there is no internet access. And so what used to be very, very difficult task to explore, tens of thousands, hundreds, or to now millions of video events that are coming to their databases every day, and kind of figure out where their models might be not performing or the edge cases they may have. Now with Gemini multimodal capabilities, these teams are able to identify edge cases in a matter of seconds and minutes. As you can see here, I simply ask a question, find me kind of video snippets that may be, where the driver may be distracted, and then Labelbox can query that across millions of these video snippets. Now, similarly, the examples for exploration transcends to other kind of modalities and use cases as well. So here's an example where our machine learning teams use kind of embedding views to understand themes in their data sets. A common use case could be when customers have models deployed in production, you're essentially processing nearly everything. It's sort of out of your control, and data could be out of domain, or you might see new edge cases. So using Labelbox, again, we're using multimodal APIs, generating embeddings, and providing this UI UX that enables teams to find these themes. A very popular use case we are seeing is with chat logs. So as teams are deploying their chatbots to production, often they are asking their users to provide feedback, like thumbs up, thumbs down. And again, through the same UI, UX, and same experience, we generate embeddings and understanding kind of like content with Gemini models, and give users, our customers, ability to identify themes where things are not going good. And subsequently improve it. Here's an interesting example in our insurance geospatial use case. So this is a synthetic aperture radar imagery. And I chose this one because this data set is not actually publicly available much, because it's a very new technology deployed with the satellites that are in orbit. And as you can see here, I can kind of like ask questions about, hey, find me interesting bright spots. The model can actually count even these things. This is super cool, because a couple of years ago, this was just very, very hard to do. And this operates on a scale of like millions and billions of images. And now, users are talking to their data set in natural language, and essentially this query can be saved. And so any new data that comes from these sensors immediately gets surfaced and categorized without having to develop AI models. And so this is really remarkable capabilities in the hands of our customers building task-specific models. Moving on to labeling aspect and some of the ways people are accelerating their data labeling workflows. One of the common things we are seeing today is a lot of our customers in enterprise context wants to deploy task-specific models that meet their budgets and constraints and operating conditions. And you might sort of bootstrap the training data creation with one of these amazing Gemini series models, but want to train a more task-specific model like Gemma or BERT. And typically that will happen through kind of like auto-generating training data with Gemini model. You might still need human in the loop just to ensure quality controls, and then train the subsequent model, evaluate that model, and deploy it. And so here's an example, which is a very popular thing in our platform in the last few months. A non-technical person with a use case can come to our platform, bring their data in, ask Gemini Pro model to say like, hey, extract all the interesting entities, classify this text, and the training data is created, and essentially in a matter of a few clicks, train a BERT or Gemma model, and then deploy that. And this is pretty cool and very democratizing in the enterprise context, where you can have a kind of subject matter experts building these models and deploying them. Here's another example where we are using document. And so this is actually demonstrating some of the long context window for documents can be very long. And a number of use cases we see is categorizing these documents and kind of extracting really interesting entities. And within a few seconds, our users are deploying apps that are fundamentally powered by Gemini 1.5. And as you can see here, and these apps are kind of available as endpoints that can be used in production workloads or for downstream kind of custom model training workloads. And by the way, it's very important sometimes for our customers to have humans in the loop. So when you're automating these things with these amazing foundation models, you might still want to have like a small sample of your data kind of be reviewed by the humans. And that way, you're able to kind of ground or understand how much error rate you might be getting from these AI systems. And again, it's super easy to do that with our platform. So one of the things that we have really loved about the Gemini models and the multimodal APIs is that our workloads are very bursty. And so as you saw in the example with the videos, sometimes our customers will upload tens and thousands of videos in a single day, but not kind of upload the data for the next kind of couple of days until the new data comes in. And so being able to kind of like just send all of that data to Gemini APIs and have have Google handle all of our workloads has been really remarkable for us and accelerated our deployments to these features by months and so. Lastly, I want to share with you evaluation. I'm sure many of you are building lots of LLM applications, including RAG applications. And a common way to evaluate these systems are you could use auto evals or like Gemini model as an LLM as an eval, or you could use human eval. And so we, like again, in our products, our customers are using kind of, they're fine-tuning, sort of like, not really fine-tuning, but they're kind of steering Gemini model to become a really good judge for their kind of systems that they're working with, and asking the model to essentially help them evaluate that release candidate is better than the thing in production, so they can go ahead and deploy it. And so, these are just a few examples. There's actually tons of amazing examples among our customers, and we are truly delighted to be working with Google and team to bring the latest and greatest technology to our customers. So all of these things that you saw are accelerated by Gemini series of models. So with that, thank you very much, and over to you, Jason.
So we've seen today some amazing examples, the multi-talented Holt, Fabian and his love of movies, and then we also have Manu with Labelbox and all of the other more enterprise use cases that we're seeing already out there in the market, where customers are using these models and really excited to unlock new capabilities, new workflows, really power not just them, but their own customers with Gemini 1.5. So the question that we get often is, what's next? What are we doing here at Google? What are we going to release? So we can talk a little bit more broadly about the models and the capabilities and how we're thinking about Gemini models. So that 1 million token context window that we've been talking about today and a little bit more broadly in the last month or so, that 1 million token context window is not a capability of the 1.5 Pro model that we've released. That's just the first model with that extended context window technology included. So what you can expect over time is that we'll bake the long context window into more and more models that we release. We think it's a default feature of every model at every size, as opposed to being a feature of a specific model or in a specific price point. So over time, what you'll see is we'll be releasing more and more models that have this extended 1 million token context window. Our research teams have spoken publicly, if you know where to find in the corners of the internet, about the fact that internally we've been testing not just 1 million tokens, but up to 10 million tokens. And we've seen really great results. The techniques that we use to make the 1 million token context window, they seem to scale for well beyond. We're working through what it means from an engineering perspective to release that long context window. we already have customers that are excited about the 1 million, but I live in the future as a product person, so I think about what's next, and 10 million I think is a really interesting point. We're still looking for customers who have use cases. You know, we've got 1 hour of video, what's 10 hours of video? And so can you, instead of one Back to the Future movie, can you reason over all of them at the same time? Or what else? So we have really interesting plans and use cases going forward. And then the other thing I'll just put a quick pitch in for is that we today, or I guess on Tuesday, we announced the public preview for grounding with Google Search on Gemini. And so the power of Google Search combined with the power of the Gemini models leads to an amazing experience. So I urge you all to try. You can go into the console like Holt showed you, and there's just a toggle switch to turn grounding on. And so try it out. Try turning grounding on and turning grounding off, and see what the model gives you in answers that are different. Really, the world's knowledge has been organized by Google very well over the last 25 years. So adding that to Gemini is producing, from all the testing that we've done, some really amazing results. So with that, thank you all for coming. Thank you to all of our co-presenters as well. Hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.